Alright, a lot of people asked why I use an MCCR for this type of dive, or why I do not use an ECCR for this dive. So I would like to take the opportunity and explain a little bit what I'm doing on this dive. The dive is 108 meters, so the KISS originally is for 90 meters, and it's pretty well known that I've been diving deeper with this unit. So we are on the boat, as you can see, captain's next to me, and we'll talk a little bit about this. So this is a more or less regular KISS Classic, as you've seen it in quite a few of my videos. And for those of you who are not super familiar with the concept, you have, like on every other rebreather, your oxygen and your diluent. And so the diluent is brought into the unit basically through a regulator. So if you inhale deeper, diaphragm, like in the regulator, gets triggered and injects diluent. So the regulator, so to speak, is on the right side. So the oxygen has a constant flow of roughly 0.7 liters, which is adjustable, so depending on your needs, but that's like the preset, and that's this unit here. So gas comes from the first stage to that unit and then flows on a constant rate in the unit, and I can bypass that by pressing that button. So if I need more oxygen, I press the button. So the thing now is that that first stage from the oxygen is decompensated. So normally, you know, on the first stage you have the diaphragm, for example, or the piston, and the water pressure affects that, and the intermediate pressure rating of that first stage is always, let's say, 9 bars above your surrounding pressure. So if you measure it on your workbench, it's 9 bars, but if you're at 20 meters, you have a bar more, so it's 10 bars, and that goes down. So if you're diving to 90 meters, you have 10 bars, so you have 19 bars intermediate pressure. So if you decompensate that, because for the oxygen, it's not about the pressure, it's about the volume. So definitely you do not want that compensated first stage for your constant flow of oxygen. So that's probably a chapter for another video, so I don't want to go too much into detail here. But the problem is, if you have that first stage and that has, let's say, 9 bars, or let's say 10 bars for the easiness here, that would be equal with 90 meters. So if you exceed these 90 meters, the surrounding pressure is at least the same or higher than the pressure of the first stage, which means there's no gas flowing anymore. And that's the downside or the limit of that rebreather. So what I did is I changed the spring on the first stage and adjusted my intermediate pressure to 14 bars, and I have a different orifice in my oxygen valve here. For that reason, I can dive deeper with that unit. I'm not giving any detailed explanations or how-tos on how to do that, because you definitely changing the way it was delivered, and I don't want to be responsible for anybody doing stupid things. Anyway, if you're in the rebreather community and you're a KISS diver, you know about this anyway. But that was just a short explanation for those who say, like, yeah, I've read the KISS is only good for 90 meters. How can you dive these deeper dives with it? The reason I still like to dive with that unit instead of an electronic one is the same as I've explained probably in a dozen videos. I believe in monitoring my unit and acting instead of being forced to react on something the electronic rebreather or the computer or the chip in that rebreather does. So again, I don't want to go too much into detail. I mean, this is about the diving on the Thestis and not about rebreather concepts in general. I just wanted to explain a little bit why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it. So for the Thestis, as you can see, we're anchored in a bay now, and we're basically ready to go out. And so what we're going to do is we're going to set a hidden shot line. A hidden shot line is just a small styrofoam ball basically with like around about 100 meters of line and a 5 kilo weight on it. On the weight there's a lift bag pre-attached. So what I'm going to do is I drop that weight, it goes down to the wreck, and that little styrofoam ball is a couple of meters below the surface. So as I know the position, the boat then can drop me there. I go down, I get that line, which is basically like a cave line, and I follow it down. Once I hit the bottom and I see I'm on the wreck, I just fill that pre-attached lift bag, so the weight comes up. So for the person on the boat, which is actually the person filming, my lovely wife, first of all, that styrofoam ball pops up, and a couple of seconds later that lift bag pops up, which is this indicates that I am on the wreck. Boom, full stop. If I would have to come up because I missed the wreck or I can't dive it or whatever, I would still shoot a lift bag immediately, so she knows, okay, it's not only that he hit the bottom, but he's also on his way back. But otherwise, if these two things just come up, she can hook him, so we don't leave anything in the ocean. So it's gone, and I'm on the wreck. The boat stays in the surroundings. So once I'm done with my dive, I start basically a blue water ascent, and I do that up to roughly the 30-meter range. So my first gas switch, PO2 switch, whatever you want to call it, is at 57 meters, and in the 30-meter range, a little bit depending on how much current we have. Basically we don't have much current here at all. I'll set the bag, and then the boat follows the bag till I reach the surface. That way I'm not attached to a line where I have to come up, so I can just explore the wreck, and once I'm done I start my ascent, and in the 30-meter range I shoot the bag. If there's heavy current or I feel like, okay, I get swept away from the wreck side, I shoot it earlier to notify the boat, hey, I'm adrift. But otherwise, I mean, we have a pretty good timing. So plan is 20 minutes on the bottom. So after 35 minutes, you can probably expect that sooner or later the bag will come to the surface. All right, so I think that's it so far, just to give you a bit of an idea of the procedure. And we start the engines now and go for the wreck.